All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We are putting two of the absolute biggest heavyweights in behavioral psychology head to head. We've got James Clear's Atomic Habits taking on BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits. Now, both of these frameworks promise to completely transform your daily life, but man, they take entirely different paths to get you there. So we're going to break down exactly how these two philosophies work, and more importantly, how you can actually use them starting today.
But hey, before we really get into the nuts and bolts here, I want you to consider something. What if the real secret to changing your life, actually changing it, has literally nothing to do with motivation or discipline or, just grueling effort? For years, we've all been told to just grind harder, right? But both of these frameworks argue that relying on sheer willpower is a total losing game. Because let's face it, your willpower is usually totally tapped out by what, 2 p.m.? The answer really isn't working harder. It's working smarter with how your brain is already wired.
Okay, so let's actually visualize this. Imagine a split screen. Over on the left side, we have Atomic Habits. This is a philosophy that is entirely focused on strategic systems. It's going to teach you how to engineer these powerful, unbreakable frameworks around your life. But then over on the right side, we have Tiny Habits. And this is all about making change feel completely effortless by just eliminating resistance altogether. Two very, very different philosophies. So let's zoom in on that left side first, the systems approach.
So looking over on the left side of our screen, James Clear captures his core philosophy brilliantly with this one rule. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Clear basically argues that tiny 1% improvements and really structured consistency will always beat out those intense short-lived bursts of motivation we all get. Actually, he famously points to the British cycling team for this. They went from literally decades of mediocrity to total Olympic dominance simply by making 1% improvements in absolutely everything they did. Think of it like this. A goal is just your destination, but your system, that's your vehicle. And if the vehicle is broken, you'll never arrive, no matter how badly you want to get there.
Right, so how do you actually build that vehicle? Well, Clear's tactical approach is super strategic. He focuses heavily on environment design, stuff like leaving your running shoes right by the door so you literally trip over them in the morning. He also emphasizes identity change. You don't just tell yourself, oh, I'm trying to run more. No, you adopt the identity of a runner. It's all about meticulously stacking new habits onto old ones to engineer this highly efficient, almost automated machine for success. All right, now let's bounce over to the right side of our screen and contrast that with BJ Fogg's incredibly simple formula. Fogg believes people fail because they try to change way too much, way too fast. So his method is almost shockingly simple. Step 1, start ridiculously small. And I mean ridiculously small. We're talking floss one single tooth or do 2 push-ups after you use the bathroom small. Step 2, attach it to something you already do every single day without fail, like turning on the coffee maker. And step 3, celebrate immediately. The goal here isn't to get a crazy workout in, it's to gently teach your brain a new behavior without triggering any of that internal resistance.
And this perfectly illustrates the biggest philosophical divide between the two frameworks. Clear's approach on the left dictates that you shape your behavior through rigorous structure, discipline, and constant optimization. But Fogg's approach on the right insists you make the behavior so incredibly frictionless and easy that you literally cannot fail. One manages your discipline, the other completely masters the psychology of simplicity.
But here is the crazy part. Despite being so totally different, both of these guys absolutely agree on one vital thing. Human motivation is completely unreliable. They just tackle this shared problem from opposite ends. Clear tackles a lack of motivation by redesigning the environment. He wants to make the good habit painfully obvious and the bad habit entirely invisible. Fogg tackles it by simply lowering the difficulty until the habit feels, almost effortless. Like, if you don't have the energy for a full workout today, just put on your gym clothes. That's it.
I want to focus deeply on Fogg's side for a second here, because he introduces this really fascinating psychological angle. He argues that emotions create habits way faster than just pure repetition. Behavior change is actually supposed to feel good, not like a painful chore. That's exactly why that immediate celebration, even if it's just doing a goofy silent fist pump or saying awesome out loud after reading a single paragraph, is so crucial. Feeling successful in the moment is the actual catalyst that rewires your brain to want to do it all over again tomorrow.
So let's pause for a second. Think about where you are at right now in your own life. Which approach actually fits you best today? If you're inherently ambitious, productivity-focused, and you really crave that long-term strategy, then building those atomic systems on the left is going to feel incredibly powerful for you. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you tend to procrastinate, or you find yourself starting and quitting things constantly, Fogg's tiny methodology on the right removes all of that pressure completely.
Okay, so we've spent the last few minutes contrasting these ideas, right? Optimization versus simplicity, structure versus emotion. But it begs a really fascinating question. Are these two seemingly opposite philosophies actually enemies in the self-improvement space? Do you really have to pick just one side of the screen to change your life? Well, here is the profound aha moment. They aren't competing at all. In fact, they are perfect complements. Tiny Habits helps you start, while Atomic Habits helps you scale. You use Fogg's simplicity on the right to overcome your initial inertia, just to get yourself off the couch. And then, once you are finally moving, you use Clear's robust systems on the left to optimize that movement into a permanent, lifelong machine.
So if we smash these together, they form this ultimate, unified strategy for life change. Check it out. Step 1. You overcome inertia with those tiny, effortless steps, so failure just isn't an option. Step 2. You create unstoppable momentum by building a supportive environment and a solid system around those little steps. And Step 3. You just repeat this process until those actions fundamentally shift your core identity.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want this grounded thought to sink in. Massive change is just tiny behaviors repeated over time. Period. That is the ultimate truth distilled from both of these incredible frameworks. True, lasting transformation doesn't require some magic wand. It doesn't require endless, exhausting inspiration or waking up at 4 a.m. every single day fueled by nothing but sheer willpower. It really just requires consistency. Tiny behaviors that slowly, almost invisibly, become part of who you are.
Because ultimately, the secret of every successful person boils down to mastering the power of small daily habits. Whether you start by building a robust system or by taking one ridiculously effortless step, the truth is that your life right now is just a reflection of your daily routines. So instead of asking yourself how you can overhaul your entire life today, I'm going to leave you with this. What is the absolute smallest thing you can do right now that you literally cannot fail at?